roll up the dro, you already know. Love is like, whoa, got a new glow. I don't really know if I'm ever gonna get it. So many problems, yeah, to keep my head spinning. But one day I wrote down all of my visions. Manifest, meditate, I ducked off, I'm winning. Hearing my flow, the beat is so low. Already chose, crinkle your nose. Never lost what I needed, good riddance. Mental mind games, a life sentence. Don't come around me with your bad intentions. Protecting my peace, gangster, I never miss. Strike a new pose, make some new dough. We in our pose, riches on the road. Please don't follow, sheep so hollow. Do it like Lotto, big boss motto. Taking it slow, you already know. Taking it slow, you're feeling my flow. Taking it slow, feel it in my soul. Ready to go, feel the tempo. Taking it slow, feel it in my soul. Ready to go, feel the tempo. Taking it slow, feel it in my soul. Ready to go, feel the tempo. Taking it slow, feel it in my soul. Ready to go, feel the tempo. Really wish people cared less. I really wish people cared less. I really wish people cared less. I really wish people cared less. Yeah.
Yes, that was awesome. Thank you all for joining us for Louisville Sessions. These are sessions throughout Louisville and Kentucky that feature original music and video. And today we just released this new song and video created by Rosewood Lane. Hey, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, for sure.
Oh my gosh, it's our pleasure. Before we dive in, I first just want to offer that Actors Theatre acknowledges we are gathering on the unceded land of the Shawnee, the Eastern Band of the Cherokee, the Chickasaw, and Osage people, and many other Indigenous nations. And I also want to uplift and express gratitude for the collective action over centuries by global majority peoples that continue to make our current societal prosperity possible. And with that, I just want to say welcome, Rosewood Lane. I'm so happy you're here and such a fan of your session. We just watched Take It Slow, and we're going to watch it again at the end. So if you missed it, don't worry. But yeah, let's dive in. And I would love to start with asking you to introduce yourself.
Yeah. Hey, guys. My name is Rosewood Lane, they and pronouns. Louisville, born and raised, artist and creative. Dabble in multiple mediums. Yeah, so that's me. Producer, creator, all the things creative.
Amazing. A multi-hyphenate artist at your max. Well, tell us a little bit about the session, about Take It Slow.
Yeah, it was cool. I really feel like this session encouraged me to like create visuals for my music, which is a little bit newer for me, like doing a final product, and just like to work in the like the queer community with queer artists a little bit more closely knit. And it definitely pushed me to just like get out of my comfort zone. I can be pretty camera shy, so it was interesting watching that kind of work unfold. Yeah, and just it challenged me like as far as like from a writer standpoint, just to create like a clean song that's like audience appropriate. I was like, all right, we're gonna do this. That was a big thing for me too. And yeah, it was also just like refreshing being able to work with people in the community that like understand pronouns and like gender identity and like respect that. And yeah, it's just been a very great experience like all around. So
Awesome. That's what we hope. That's the best kind of community to create in, for sure.
yeah.
And you know, with that, what you're speaking to, that priority on community and an inclusive community, the timing of this session is so excellent because all that you do and that you are and that you work for is very present. This week, we just had Juneteenth on Monday. It's Pride Month.
Yes.
Out of Mental Health Awareness Month and grappling with continued impacts of mental health in community. And I feel as an individual artist, and we as Actors Theatre of Louisville feel super aligned with your values and your priorities and how you how those show up in your art. So I'd just love to hear more about that.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely think just as far as like my art, like my process goes, it's just like making and finding beats. A lot of the things I do write about are reflective of like what's going on right now, which is like you said, it's like perfect timing. Just like what I deal with as a queer human in this world existing on a day-to-day basis, and just like yeah, like a lot of the trauma that I go through correlates into the work that I make, the music that I make, the art that I make. I think that's almost impossible if it didn't. And I think it's a beautiful way to just like process some of the things that I can't always put words to, whether it be virtually or in real life, in a way that's a little bit more digestible, hopefully at times. But yeah, just I keep saying, but yeah, sometimes I'll be watching a show, I'll be on a road trip, I'll hear a sound, and get like an inspiration to write or to create, or I'll hear like a quote and I'm like, oh, that would be the perfect sample for this song. And it's just interesting to see how far along like the music that I make has come, just being an independent producer and creating artwork from my desktop, like, and getting a quality sound and putting out things consistently is my like it's my biggest. It's like a big deal for me to just like put out work consistently that I feel like speaks to the audience that I appeal to. So yeah, I definitely prefer like working in solitude and with no distractions. So it's nice to be able to create from home, and also in a professional setting as well. So yeah, just kind of a little insight on that.
Cool. And that's such a good kind of segue to my next question, because the like moment that we're in has some real advantages for what you're talking about. Like there's a lot of access in some ways to technology right now for you to be able to do that producing work in isolation or from home. But then also when you talk about the audience that it's for, I can imagine that's also tricky, like in this, period since the pandemic with like people still finding their way to in-person stuff and checking stuff out online. So how can people learn about your work? How do you connect with your audience?
Oh, thank you for asking. The best way to connect with me is usually via social media. I love posting on TikTok. Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, pretty much all platforms. Rosewood Lane. You can find my work. You can read about what I'm doing. I include links on all of my profiles. My Linktree has access to all of my music streaming platforms, SoundCloud, Spotify, all of that, and just like updates on what current art project I'm working on. That's the best way. I always put it right at the top. Like even the link to this session is at the top so people can like tune in if they're like, oh, I want to find it. Like, how do I find it? Click the bio. That's what I always tell people, and just stay posted on what I'm doing on social media. That's the best way to kind of get to yeah.
Awesome. And we will share those links too. So if you're watching this on Actors platform, keep a lookout for all of Rosewood Lane's links. I'd love to hear a little bit about the collaborators that you had on this session, and then also just like who in Louisville we should be following in the music world.
Yes. Awesome. So the creative director for this was Sweets. I met Sweets in Columbus not long ago. I was actually recently was actually down in Columbus doing a pop-up, and they were like, by the way, I do video. And I was like, what? I've been trying to like figure out a creative way to get this idea out of my head for months. And so just knowing that like I had this project to do, and I was like, this is a chance to work with a queer human. They said they're down, let's do this. And got the chance to do that. Sweets is awesome. They're just super intentional and creative and very directive. Like I was thoroughly impressed by how like equipped and prepared they were for the assignment. Like they understood the assignment. And definitely like looking out for other like artists in Louisville. Sarita, we actually like virtually met on TikTok kind of thing. Like, so I love their work. Amazing creative human being. They like to reveal kind of like the process of how their brain works as well in their creations, and it's very interesting. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, shout out to both Sweets and Sarita. We'll make sure they get linked as well. Before we watch your session again, is there anything else that you just want to share, either about your art, this piece, or you?
I'm just really happy to have put a visual to some of the music that I've made. I'm happy to have worked with you guys on this project and everybody that I did work with as well. And just seeing the support come in, and people seem to actually like it because I'm seeing the replay button go on behind the screen. So I'm like, yeah, that's honestly my favorite part, just making music that people like to listen to. So I'm just glad that I was able to do that. And yeah.
Absolutely. As a person who likes to listen to it, I will say I'm so grateful that you do the work that you do.
Yeah.
And for, you know, the mission that goes with it. I am a firm believer in, you know, art functioning on multiple levels. It has its aesthetic beauty, it's entertaining, and also I really appreciate the representation that you bring to the table. And you know, I feel very like as a queer artist, I feel very seen in your work as well, and just really appreciate the reflection. So thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Well, let's watch Take It Slow again.
Yeah.
Roll up the dro, we already know. Love is like, whoa, got a new glow. I don't really know if I'm ever gonna get it. So many problems, yeah, to keep my head spinning. But one day I wrote down all of my visions. Manifest, meditate, I ducked off, I'm winning. Hearing my flow, the beat is so low. Already chose, crinkle your nose. Never lost what I needed, good riddance. Mental mind games, a life sentence. Don't come around me with your bad intentions. Protecting my peace, gangsta. gangster, I never miss. Strike a new pose, make some new dough. We in our pole, riches on the road. Please don't follow, sheep so hollow. Do it like Lotto, big boss motto. Taking it slow, you already know. Taking it slow, you feeling my flow. Yeah. Taking it slow, feel it in my soul. Ready to go, feel the tempo. Taking it slow, feel it in my soul. Ready to go, feel the tempo. Taking it slow, feel it in my soul. Ready to go, feel the tempo. Taking it slow, feel it in my soul. Ready to go, feel the tempo. Really wish people cared less. I really wish people cared less. I really wish people cared less. I really wish people cared less.